Howdy folks, and welcome back to World of Tanks with the mighty Jingles, and this is the first replay I'm showing you from patch 9.18, and straight away you can see that there's something funny going on with the matchmaking. Every single tank in this battle is tier 10. Not only that, thanks to the new matchmaker, there are 7 tank destroyers in this game, but just for once, the matchmaker hasn't put 6 of them on one team. Tank destroyers are now counted as a separate class for matchmaking purposes. However, medium tanks and heavy tanks are still lumped into the same category, which is why there are 6 tier 10 heavy tanks on one team and only 3 on the other. However, 4 of the tier 10 heavy tanks on Donald7773 in the bat chat here, 4 of his tier 10 heavy tanks on his team may as well, they're just basically a waste of oxygen. The 2 IS-7s in the platoon, the FE215B, are going to fire 4 shots between them and do 0 damage and then die. And the T-57 Heavy is basically going to YOLO forward, empty his clip, and then die. So technically, you could argue that the enemy team, despite having half the number of tier 10 heavy tanks, actually have the tier 10 heavy tank advantage. The enemy team also have one more tank destroyer than Don's team, and one of those tank destroyers in particular is going to run up an absolute cricket score as far as his damage is concerned, and they also have 2 more medium tanks than Don's team, and that's very, very bad news for Don, because he's in the bat chat, and the bat chat doesn't like it when the enemy team have lots and lots of fast mediums, and this enemy team does. And yes, I know, it's another French medium tank video. I swear I'm not doing this on purpose, but, well, I've actually had this replay for 4 or 5 days, and I had to wait, because this is a North American server replay, I had to wait until patch 9.18 rolled out on the EU server before I could actually see what all the fuss was about. Oh, there goes one of the IS-7s already. Don't worry, his platoon mate will be joining him in oblivion after firing 1 shot and doing no damage very, very soon, shortly to be joined by the FE215B183. Now, Don's being cautious with the bat chat at the start of the game, and that's absolutely the right thing to do in this tank, and well, yeah, that was unfortunate. You have to make your ammunition count in this machine. That shot hit the gun barrel of the E50M. This tank does not get a lot of ammunition. And, oh, the other IS-7 has just joined his teammate in the scrapyard. And they're both going to be joined very, very quickly by the T-57 Heavy and the FE215B, which is bad news for the team up on the northern flank. And this is not fantastic news for the team down here on the southern flank either, because they're outnumbered by all of these enemy medium tanks, although the TVP is going to go down, but not before he puts 2 shots into Don, and now he has to retreat. The bat chat is great at doing damage very quickly, but then you have to fall back. You cannot hold a position in the bat chat, and even worse, there are 2 bat chats over here. And that guy's going to be reloading soon, and he is also going to have to fall back, which means that the enemy mediums on this flank are going to have free reign. And yep, T-57 Heavy, FE215B are both dead, and they've just been joined by one of the E100s, who did at least manage to fire 2 shots before his inevitable defeat. Now, despite being outnumbered, things are going a lot better for the medium tanks over here. They've managed to kill the TVP, they've just managed to knock out an M48 Patton. Meanwhile, that T-62A that Don spotted is getting some flanking fire in on the other friendly mediums, but Don has now reloaded and he goes for it. Now he's using auto aim because he's firing on the move here, which is great for his first 2 shots. Not so good for his 3rd shot, 2 shots remaining. He's probably going to need a little bit of help here, and he gets it from the other friendly bat chat. Thinks about moving forward in order to get under the ridge line and therefore under the fire of the other enemy mediums on the ridge, but there's a T-62A in the valley. That would be suicide, so instead doubles back, retraces his tracks, and once again waits for his reload. The scores are actually even at the moment, and that's largely down to the medium tanks over on this flank. The northern flank has been completely surrounded and is crumbling very, very quickly. Waiting for the reload. Still 3 enemy mediums remaining over there. Centurion, E50M, and there, the T-62A, and he's bugging out. Now he's got the front of the tank pointed towards the incoming fire, and that is making him a little bouncy, and it's only this side shot that Don fires that actually does damage out of the 5 shots he fires at this guy. That's a lot of potential damage wasted, and something that you really need to try to avoid in the bat chat. Wherever possible. It does not have a lot of ammunition. You really do have to make every shot count in this machine. And that is going to come back and bite Don in the arse later on. But now he's reloading, And with the T-62A bugging out, that just leaves the Centurion and the E-50M, so now the mediums are going for it. And the Jagdpanzer E-100 on the team, who has just died after firing 3 shots, although they all did damage, is now displaying a breathtaking lack of awareness as he's accusing the medium tanks on the team, these guys here, the ones who are winning, he's accusing them of being asleep, because apparently those 2 enemy mediums have just held them off for the entire game. Never mind the fact that there were 6 enemy mediums here a couple of minutes ago, now there's only 2 left. Never mind the fact that 3 of your top tier heavies have only fired 4 shots between them and done 0 damage. It's the medium tanks that are letting the team down, according to Erwin Rommel in the Jagdpanzer E-100. E-50M dispatched, but he did manage to damage Don's gun, but this is another new feature of patch 9.18. His repair kit is a consumable on a cooldown, so there's a 90-second cooldown before we can use it again, so no point whatsoever in saving it. Go ahead and use it, and that was unbelievable. Point blank range shot on the Centurion Action 10 and it bounced. And it's actually the M48 Patton over there on the other side of the map that got the kill on the Centurion, and he is the last friendly tank surviving over there. And once Don's reloaded, he's only going to have 10 rounds of ammunition remaining. The Batchat does not carry a lot of ammo, and that M48 is going to need all the help he can get, because here come the enemy heavies. T110E5 almost reloaded. Patton's taken a hit. He's got to back off and get down that hill. If he gets down the hill, he can force these enemy heavies to come out after him, and then the mediums can actually do some damage. Of course, that shot went into the E5's tracks. There's an E100 coming out after him. There's a damaging hit. Jagdpanzer E100. Side shot at the Jagdpanzer E100 and it bounced. That one did damage, and now he's reloading again. He's done nearly 5,000 damage and he's on his last clip of ammunition. This is his premium ammunition, his high explosive anti-tank. But with the amount of shots that have bounced or just missed completely, he could have done so much more. The M48 is down, and I really don't fancy the chances of that 1-2-1 over there. They can see that he's a one-shot kill, and they're all just charging him, and yep, he's down. E100 took him out. Don has almost reloaded. There are just 3 of them left against 4 enemies. There's the Jagdpanzer E100. Perfect side shot with heat. Ooh, that one actually went a little high. It was lucky to do damage. He's killed him. 3 shots remaining, and then he's done. He's empty. No ammunition left. The other Batchat has managed to find and kill the enemy artillery, but he's now caught in the corner of the map with the E100 and T110E5 chasing him down. And judging by the fact that he's hiding, because we don't have eyes on the E5 or the E100, he's probably also reloading, so he could probably use all the help he can get. It's critical that Don gets up here and spots these guys, not just for the Batchat, who is almost certainly reloading and wants to know which way he needs to run, but also for the T92 artillery. And there is the T110E5, and there is the E100. 3 shots remaining. First shot goes in. Second shot just strikes the rear of the turret. Don's looking for the third shot, but he has to keep moving because the E100 has seen him, so he does not risk the third shot. Not firing on the move, it would just miss. Artillery hits him, but it's patch 9.18. Artillery doesn't do huge amounts of damage anymore. And Don aims his third and final shot, and of course, it hits the rear of the E100 and does no damage. Don is now out of ammunition. The other Batchat is dead. There's just Don and the artillery left. Now, one of the other aspects of patch 9.18 is that artillery, while it doesn't do a huge amount of damage, and it does have that stun mechanic, it does reload a little faster. He has to keep that E100 spotted and pray. Come on. Come on. There it is. No! You've got to be kidding. The E100 has survived. I feel pretty sure that Don would quite cheerfully swap his soul for 1 round of ammunition around about now. 29 health remaining on the E100. But of course the E100 does not know that he's out of ammunition. All the E100 knows is that he was spotted. There's a Batchat still out there. He only has 29 health left. The Batchat can one-shot him and the artillery can one-shot him. So that E100 is digging himself a little bunker behind those buildings right now. Meanwhile, Don, reassuring the T92 that it's still under control, he's keeping the E5 spotted for him. And he's telling artillery, take 1 more shot and then relocate. Because that E5 is going to overrun artillery's position. And there's the shot and did no damage. Splashed the E5, didn't do damage, did stun him. And now Don is rushing to the assistance of the T-92. He's telling him, relocate. You need to move, and you need to move now. Because by the time he's ready to fire, he could sit where he is and take one more shot, as long as Don keeps the E5 spotted. But he's not going to kill the E5. And at that point, it's too late for the artillery to relocate. E5's pretty quick for a heavy tank, and he's already made it to the top of the hill on the other side of the valley, so it's level ground and then downhill all the way. And I think the T-92 here has just realised that sitting there waiting for the E5 to be spotted again to take one more shot and then die is not the way to go. So Don is rushing over here to add a little bit of horsepower and get this T-92 safely up the hill before that E5 makes an appearance. The E5 is obviously going to be looking for artillery, so it's important that artillery is not where the E5 expects it to be. Get up the hill, position yourself up at B2, and then Don's going to go and look for more targets for you. Now there is the risk here, of course, because we haven't seen that E100 for a while, that he may be flanking around from the other side. And I think Don's just realised this, because his initial instructions to the T-92 were to set up at B2, and instead he's telling him just hold up here at E2 and get ready to take shots. And he's now heading off just to check and make sure that that E100 isn't about to make an entrance over the crest of that hill over there. If he is, of course, Don's going to get spotted. But, well, that's just a risk that Don's going to have to take. And there's no sign of him yet. And no, he's not in the field. Doesn't appear to be in the town. If he was going to be up here, he would have been up here by now. Is he still loitering down there, defending his cap circle? Let's take a quick look. No sign of him. Equally, no sign of the T110E5, or no indication that the T110E5 is capping yet, for example, which may suggest that the E100 has followed the E5 steps, and the E5 is waiting for him, so that they can both rush the cap at the same time. Well, you know, rush anything as quickly as an E100 does. So it's time to find out where that E5 is. Luckily, lots and lots of concealment up here. Hopefully, the T-92... Aha, there we go. There's the E5. And he's still looking for the artillery. You'll note he's making great pains to not cross into the cap circle and telegraph his position. And then, as luck would have it, he goes unspotted. And that's exactly when the T-92 opens fire. And once he's reacquired, the shot has once again missed, with no damage done to the T-110E5, although the T-92 did stun him. E5 has now decided, screw this, I'm going to start capping. He's never going to catch a Batchat, especially when he doesn't even know where the Batchat is, and artillery could be anywhere. But here's the thing, when you're on Westfield, and you're attempting to cap in the southern cap, there is one place, there it is, there is one place that you go to avoid being hit by artillery, and it's behind that house, and that's exactly where he is. So this is going to require a very good shot from the T-92. And finally, a very good shot is what we get. Direct hit. Cap reset, E5 stunned. Don's moved over to this side so he can keep an eye on the E5 and look out for the E100. And it's at this point where we realise that the E5 does not have sixth sense. Because if he knew that he'd been spotted, he wouldn't be doing this with a T-92 reloading and getting ready to hit him again. Look at that. In your own time, T-92, once you've reloaded, let's make this one count. Probably not going to kill him, of course. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on your perspective, the days when T-92's one-shotted Tier 10 heavy tanks are long gone. So it's going to take a few more shots. There we go. Don is racking up the spotting damage in this game. Now the E5 has just decided, screw this. He saw which direction the artillery shot came from and he's going for it. And the team are yelling at the artillery, run, run, run. But Don, the voice of reason, is saying, no, don't run. Stay where you are and aim. And yep, that was the E100 and he's miles away, so he's no immediate threat. Artie, says Don, you can take this E5. Alright, don't panic. I'll spot him again for you. Really doesn't want to get spotted himself while he's doing it. And yep, there he is. And the T-92 aims and kills the E5. Which means that E100's butthole must be puckering like crazy right now. But he has spotted Don, and he's taken the shot. And Don's scrambling to get that small ridge between him and the 150mm, probably high explosive anti-tank shell that just went whistling in his general direction, and that did not actually miss by much. But this E100 is not stupid. Don isn't spotted, but that gun is still pointing straight at him. So Don, yep, there it is. He fired straight through the bush that Don was spotting him from. What a shot from the E100. But is it going to be enough? I mean, the E100 cannot win. The best he can hope for is a draw, and he's no longer spotted again, so Don has to risk getting spotted in return to reacquire him. And he spotted him, and there's 23 seconds of this game left, which means the T-92 is only going to get one shot, and he makes it count. Hell of a game from Don there on the North American server in the bat chat. I mean, ace tanker, obviously, 6,000 damage of his own. And then he ran out of ammunition with an E100 and a practically full health T110 E5 still to kill, but he didn't panic. He took charge of his surviving teammate, the T-92 artillery, and guided him to victory, earning over 4,000 spotting damage in the process. One hell of a game. That's good guy Don in the bat chat on Westfield. I thought that was a fantastic game. I hope you agree, and as always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.